Hey there everyone, Hitesh here and welcome to this crash course on iOS 13 using SwiftUI. SwiftUI is the future of how applications are going to be building up in the iOS world. It's way different from the storyboard, and this crash course is going to give you enough of idea that how to get started with the SwiftUI. It's a pretty fun way of building the application. So first and foremost, what we'll be building up. If you have seen the iOS application of Learn Code Online, we are having these scroll views which are going left to right. So in this entire application, we are building up kind of a different look for my application Learn Code Online. We'll be creating a custom designed card, and you will learn how we can have an application which are having top to bottom scrolling as well as left to right scrolling of these custom cards, buttons, some of the banners at the bottom side, and some of the colors that you can use. It's a pretty fun application to build, and I have taken up enough care that anybody can follow this up without having any prior experience in iOS development. All you need is an Apple device on which you can write code, and you should have Xcode installed. Make sure you have the latest Xcode installed, and that's it. That's all you need to know to get started with this iOS 13 and SwiftUI crash course. Just one more thing before we get started. Make sure that if you're following up this video, you click a photo of the application that you have created and the assignment, and post a story or something with me on Instagram. It feels really great if you share the progress that you are going on. And one more thing, this is the last one. All the assets that I have used and the final project of this course is actually uploaded in the free course that I have added up in Learn Code Online as a crash course for iOS. It's totally free and all the assets are available there. So check the link in the description section, and let's get started with this iOS 13 SwiftUI crash course. Okay, so let's get started and build this application. We're going to need a few assets. I'll provide all of you, so don't you worry. Also, this is a bit long of a recording session, so I'll be sipping up some water and stuff in between, so please don't mind me doing that. It's a really long recording and I want to do this all in one go. So let's go ahead and start this informal approach of learning the SwiftUI. Now, before we go ahead on any stack, there is three things that you need to understand for creating any UI that you want in SwiftUI, which is horizontal stack, vertical stack, and on the Z-axis stack. First and foremost, the easy one, look at here. This is another website that I have, UI Color Picker, which will help you to pick up some colors, and we will be using this in a second. So look at this red color here. They are all stacked up from left to right. This is a simple stack. So this is a horizontal stack. Also, you can notice from top to bottom, these colors are stacked from top to bottom. And this is also here. That means this is a vertical stack. And also at the very top, there is a strip on the gray color, and on top of the strip, which is text, click to copy colors. This is actually stacking on the Z-axis. So Z-axis is like on the screen level. So all the things goes on like this. And that's it. That's pretty much it, all you need. Now what I've done, there are some beautiful colors on this website. They look absolutely good on any website or mobile app. You can go ahead and select a few. I have already selected a few, and I'll show you how to use them in your application in a minute. But just go ahead, select 4 or 5 or 6 colors of your choice, and just go ahead and use them here, or just paste them in any text editor. Now, apart from that, I'll also give you some of these images. All the images in the iOS applications are required to be provided into 3 different sizes because of the Retina display. So this is the single image. We have got the bigger one and a bit bigger one. I have created all these assets for you. And from the link in the description section, you can download all these images. Feel free to use any other images, but they are going to look pretty nice. So why not to have beautiful portfolio when you are making one? And these are all free to use in your portfolio, so go ahead and use them. I don't have any issue. Okay, and then what we're going to do is, first and foremost, let's go ahead and create a new application. So fire up your Xcode, new, click on the file, new, and we need a new project. And there we go. Come on, bring up here. And we're going to go for single view application, click on next, and we are going to call this one as LCO course. Feel free to call it anything. And then comes up is the organization name. Mine is LCO or Learn Code Online. I also happen to own a domain, lco.dev. Feel free to put up your domain name or even any domain name. It doesn't really gonna bother you much. Make sure the language is Swift and the UI is actually SwiftUI. There are 2 UIs actually, SwiftUI and Storyboard. The world and the entire Apple ecosystem is moving towards the SwiftUI, so make sure you select that. We don't need core data. Probably I'll have another crash course on core data later on if you'll request that in the comment section, but right now we're not talking about that. Click on the next, And I'll just place it on my desktop, or feel free to paste it or place it wherever you like. I'm going to just move this browser ahead, and I'm going to take the full real estate of my recording screen. There we go. Looks pretty big. Okay, now you can hit a resume, and this is going to take some time. Mine was really quick this time, and it's going to show you that how your application currently is looking like, which is actually amazing thing. First and foremost, we're going to not touch it right now. We'll do that a bit later. First and foremost, go to X assets, and we will be placing some assets here. Now, how we're going to do that? First and foremost, make sure you have picked up some 4 or 5 of your favorite colors. I'll show you 1 and 2, and then I'll do rest of them in fast forward mode. So copy the color along with the hashes, and click on this bottom teeny tiny new plus, and we are going to click on to, we need a color, so new color set. And click on this universal. Make sure you click on this universal first, otherwise it's not going to show the properties. Notice here, no properties, properties. So make sure you do that. And then we need to click on this floating point value. We need a 8-bit hexa value, and paste the value, hit enter. There we go, blue color is here. And make sure you name it exactly, LCO in caps and then blue in lowercase. So it's going to be easier for you to pick up the colors later on. So make sure you follow this naming criteria here. Later on, after you build this application, feel free to modify and change whatever you like, and hit enter. There we go. I'm going to show you one more time how to do this, and then I'll do the rest of them in the fast forward mode. Copy that, click on this plus icon, click on this new color set, click on this, and then click on floating point value, 8-bit decimal, and there we go, hit enter. This one is green, so we're going to say LCO green. Next one is actually light green. And now I'm going to do rest of them in the fast forward mode. Okay, so all the colors are being named, and make sure you follow a naming convention. In this case, it's pretty easier that all of these are LCO defined colors. Feel free to use any syntax here, but this one is okay for us. Now select your blue, hold down your shift key and select till the red, right click, and we want to just place them into a new folder. So new folder from selection. Is it compulsory? No, not at all. I just like to organize my assets well so that it's easier to find them. And we're going to say colors. There we go. Nice and easy. And now make sure that you are still in this X assets. Nothing is selected. And we're going to go all of there. So download this folder from the attachment inside the course. And we're going to click all of it and just drag and drop these guys up here. And they will automatically be taking the shape. So one image is into 1x, 2x, 3x. So they are designed according to the Apple guidelines. So there we go. Now select all of these, right click again, new folder from selection, and we are going to call them as images. There we go. So it's nice, well organized, because we do have a lot of assets in our application. So it's always a good idea to have them all under control. Let's go into the content view. This is looking absolutely great so far, and we are all happy about it. Now, the first thing that we need to do is the application is going to be heavily focused in cards. Every application is, whether you're making a course application, t-shirt selling store, or anything, cards are the building foundation of application on which we put generic information first. Let's go ahead and build that, and then we're going to worry about how we can have multiple or different datas in it, or how we can replicate them, how we can scroll them. That's on a later part. First, let's have a card. So whenever we need a card, we need to put that information into a separate file. It's always a good idea. So right click onto the course and click on the new file. There are two kinds of basically file which you will be using a lot, SwiftUI view and the Swift file. If you want to have helper methods which are talking to database or some architecture or anything like that, that usually goes in the Swift file. If anything is specific to the UI part, means card design or button design, that usually go in the Swift UI view. Click on the next, and we're going to call this one as card, hit enter, and there we go. It opens up directly for you. Okay, now you can see there are two structures here. The first structure is actually your component, what you'll be designing, and second one is actually for previewing. And this preview can be changed a lot. Let me just resume this preview, and you can see that right now this is hello world, but you can change a lot of layouts, designs, and stuff like that. Even you can change the markup here from iPhone to iPhone 11 Pro SE, however you like. Now you're going to see a lot of designers doing this, like they want to focus on not this fancy stuff. They just want to focus on the element they're designing. So they say preview layout and something like size that fits, and that just shows them. I am not going to do that because it can be confusing for the beginners, but just showing you that a lot of people and videos that you'll be watching actually are going to be doing that. Now moving forward. Now I don't need this text here. I want a ZStack here. It's a good idea if you're playing with the images, have these ZStack so that images can be at the back, text at the front, stuff like that. Now there's a couple of issues with this here. So if I just say ZStack and goes like this is all great and there is no problem in the code right now. There are a couple of syntax here in all of them, ZStack, VStack, and HStack. Again, I hope you remember them. There are two options how you declare them. First is directly like this, and second is by calling their constructor. So you can override the values into them. I'll show you later on how to do that, but right now this is all okay. So there we go. This is our basic ZStack. And now, first and foremost, I want to have an image. There are multiple ways of having images. The easiest one is to use the parentheses like that and just use the course image name. In my case, img-1 is the image name. I have others one as well, 2 and 3. How ridiculously fast this preview is. Okay, and there we go. Now, apart from that, you will be playing with the images a lot. So you need to move them at top, bottom, left, right, stuff like that. For them, there are various ways. The offset one is actually super easy. Offset provides you X and Y values, and you guessed it right, you can move it to X and Y. For example, for Y, if I just say, hey, move it to like 40 here, it's gonna move it 40. If you put up a negative value, it moves it up top and bottom, stuff like that. Right now, I want to move it a little bit on the bottom side. So there we go. This is basically moving my image a bit on the Y points, 40 points below there. Okay, but here's the point that we have this ZStack, but we are not actually able to see that how much bigger my ZStack right now is. So the great idea for this is to define a frame on itself. Now, first and foremost, notice I am just outside this ZStack and I'm defining all the properties on the ZStack. So I'll hit an enter and I'll say, hey, I want to have a frame, which gives you an option of providing a width value and a height value as well. So height, there we go. Now, again, I didn't came out with these magical numbers like 335 and 550 automatically. I actually did a lot of work there, trial errors and hit, and then finally settled down on this number that it's looking pretty decent and pretty good. Now, obviously, you can see the blue line. I hope it is getting in the recordings. So this is the blue line, which is catching up here pretty nicely. And to get it more, we can actually define a color onto it. So we are going to say background color, not like that, color a dot black. There we go. So this gives me how this is actually looking like as of now. But again, this is not really a good color. So the color is actually pretty interesting here. Just like it has a dot black, which is system color, you can also use parentheses and can define your own colors here. For example, we have got this LCO red and we can use this color here. Told you, pretty nice. And this card is looking all great, but one more thing which might interest you a lot is going to be the corner radius. I'm going to go ahead and give it a radius of 18. Again, didn't come out magically. I just tried a little bit which one is looking good. And these are just CG float values, so you can go ahead and try them out. Looking great so far. So ZStack is coming up onto the nicely up here. Okay. So we have talked enough of the ZStack. Now moving inside the ZStack, okay? Just below this image, we're gonna go ahead and add more values. So first and foremost, I want to stack two text, the headline and the bottom line. So top and bottom. So what stack do we need? Obviously, we need a VStack. Again, VStack can be designed or can be declared like this. If you have some properties to mention, if you don't have any properties to mention, just use directly like this. And we will be mentioning some properties later on. And I need two text here. So I'm going to say text and I'm going to need a text again. There we go. Nice and easy. And this one first is going to call as React.js course. And this one is going to mention the price. So just $2.5. And that's exactly the price of my course as of now. Now, something interesting here. I can define more properties just like I did for the frame, but you can also hold down your command key and click on this text and say that show me the SwiftUI inspector. And I'm going to say that the font is going to be large title and the weight is going to be a little bit of, what should I, heavy or bold? Bold is nice. And the color, it's going to be white. And there we go. You can see the live preview up here as well. This is looking absolutely fantastic. And I can settle down on this one, but I can add more as well. So for this text as well, let's see the show UI inspector. And the font is going to be subheadline. Looks nice, but actually a bit smaller one. Headline. Yeah, this one is good. Weight is going to be regular. Yep, looks great. And of course, the color, we need to switch the color to white. There we go, looking absolutely nice. So this is also another way. For the text one, it actually works really nicely. You can add these visual properties, but for others, it's actually good. And again, these are not really hard. You can just remember them just by once looking at font weight, foreground color, background color, pretty nice and easy. Now, obviously, this ZStack is not at exactly the place where I want it to be. So again, what should I do? Just put a dot and say, I'm going to use an offset of X or Y. Definitely Y in this case. So what if I add a 200 here? Notice it goes bottom. What if I add a negative 200 up here? It goes at the top. Now again, I did a little bit of work in advance and I realized that 220 is actually really nice because 230 is actually too much at the top. 220 or 225 is actually looking nice. But again, feel free to just do a little bit of research. Now, one more property I would like to add on this text because this can actually grow a little bit bigger. So I'll just say show UI Swift inspector, and I would add an alignment property here as well. This is a multi-line text alignment because this can grow a little bit bigger. I want it to be at the center. Again, feel free to reduce down the things here as well. Okay, so this one is looking nice and pretty good. Now, after that, we need to add a button. I won't be playing with the button much as of now. Maybe in later videos, if you'll ask me, I can have a detailed video on the buttons. So first and foremost, let's have this button. Now this button guy is very interesting. It asks you to provide two properties. The first one is action, just like this. And I don't know why this came up this big because it shouldn't be. Let me show you. So the first property is action. How do you define an action? Put a colon sign, a parenthesis, and inside that you put these curly braces. So that's your button in action. Another important property that you have to define is label, and label goes like this, and then in the curly braces and just like that. So this is all your button is being defined. Okay, nice and easy. First and foremost, in the button, we are going to provide an action. So I'm going to come back here and we'll say whenever I have a button, it's going to just print the stuff and it's going to say button clicked. There we go. And inside the label, obviously, we want to add some text onto the buttons and stuff like that. So there we go. We will be adding a small text onto that and we'll be adding some of the properties, but not just the text. I want a small icon going just on the right side of this one. So what do we need? We are going from left to right. So obviously horizontal stack. So we need a H stack just like that. Since I don't have any properties, I won't be using these parentheses. I will be going directly curly braces like that. I need a text, which is gonna obviously say, because it's just a $2.5, people will be very interested. So buy now. There we go. And we will have an image as well. You said, hey, we are gonna put up an icon. Why are you putting up an image here? I'll show you that. Where is my browser? So in case you follow up Apple design, which you should, there is SF Pro font, something which is given to us by Apple. And it's not just actually a font. These are now the system fonts, which include some of the symbols as well. So if you look for more about the symbols here, there are a lot of symbols given to you. Not only you can use them in the files like Photoshop and Sketch and XD, you can actually directly use them inside the code. And that is really fascinating. So what you can do here in the image, you can go up here and you can use system name and can provide the name of the string. So one that I'll be using is arrow.right.square. Okay, and it's really horrible. It's not even visible. So I'll just change some of the things. Only thing that you have to remember in the text, when you say foreground color, it changes the color. But inside this system image, you have to say something like this, which is accent color, and then only it changes. A little bit weird, but that's what we have got. So we're going to say color just like this. And we are going to say LCO red. And I know it's horrible, it's not even visible, but we'll make sure that it's visible in a second. Just bear with me. First, adding a few properties on this text. So we're gonna say, hey, I want to change the font like that. And I'll be saying the font, not actually font, we are gonna go for font weight. There we go. And I'll say that, hey, just give me a heavy. There we go. And we definitely need to change the foreground color, which is gonna be color.white. Okay, little bit visible, not much. Now comes up the interesting part. So we have this entire edge stack, which is a label of my button. So you can craft this edge stack in such a way that it looks like moreover a fancy button of a web design. So how do we design a button in the web? It's pretty easy. We play with either the padding or stuff like that. So we'll be playing with the padding. If you'll just add a padding, notice here the blue line, very hard to see. I'll give you on that. But we can see that here, the blue line is here and this is the default one. But you can add a padding on horizontal and vertical stack, so, or axis. I'm gonna say on the horizontal, just give me a 40 of the padding. And again, just add one more padding. And this time I'll go for vertical and give me a padding of 10 on the vertical. That looks absolutely like a button. Now, obviously, to see this button, we need to add a background here, which is gonna be color.white. And there we go. The button is looking nice, but we don't have any color onto this label right now. So label needs to go and have a color. And I think label can use a different color instead of white. We're gonna go for color and we are gonna go for LCO red. Looking nice. But this might not be the color exactly what you will be looking up for. Obviously, we need to switch this button a little bit. First, let's do that. So this button is here and here. So we can just go ahead and switch this button a bit onto the top side. So for that, we'll be using offset. And please take my button and we are going to move on the y-axis of -150. There we go. Nicely there. But obviously, just as I was saying, some people might not be really happy with this button just looking like this, although this is looking good. But what impressed me a lot is there is an option given to you, which is clip shape. And inside this clip shape, you can directly say, I want to go for capsule. And there we go. Look at this, how nice this is looking right out of the box. And this is according to Apple guidelines. So no problem about rejection of the app because your button look absolutely ugly. So yes, by the way, on the design basis, a lot of apps get rejected. So this is looking so nice here. And look how much less code we have written compared to previously in the storyboard and how much less pain it is. And we have got such a nice and beautiful entirety of the things up here. Okay, but one thing is still missing. If you remember from the very first intro, I was having this small bar which was going at the bottom corner, which was a cross-axis bar. Bit hard to place this thing, especially in the storyboard. But here, it is actually super easy to have this. Once we have this button, it's going to go just below that. So we're going to enter up here. We're going to add a text. And this is going to be more of a branding stuff. So we're going to say learncodeonline.in, which is my website. First and foremost, let's prepare the frame for it. You can prepare frame for anything. That's the one best thing I like about it. We're going to say width. The width is going to be 370 this time. And again, no magic number. I didn't came up with this automatically. I tried a little bit here. So height is going to be 30. Looks nice. The frame is designed. So then we are going to go for foreground color. And the foreground color that we are going to go for color. We are going to go for LCO red. There we go. Nice and easy. We need a background color for this one as well, which is going to be color.white. Okay, looking nice. Now we need to move it up a little bit. So how do we move that? We simply go ahead and first say we need to have an offset here. The offset that worked really nicely for me was 240. So Y is going to be 240. This is exactly where I want it to be. But then I realized we can skew it off a little bit. So for that, there is a rotation effect you can use. And in here, I can just simply go ahead and rotation effect. And I can provide a degrees here. Oops. And I can provide a degrees here. So for that, I'm going to say dot init, initialize degree. And we are going to be having a 20 degrees. And again, didn't came out 20 degrees automatically. I tried a little bit, which one is looking nice and which one is going with the theme. So this one actually came up nicely. Previously, I tried 30, 40 and stuff like that. Didn't work out well. 20 worked really nicely. So there we go. So the card is absolutely ready and within no time. And you can try it out with different images and stuff. And it looks pretty beautiful in all of that. 2, 3. So there we go. I told you it looks pretty nice and easy. Okay. So the basic of the card is all done. And now I actually also prefer this one here to have a preview of only the card. So preview layout, dot size that fits. And yeah, this one is nice. Okay. Moving forward, what I would like to do now is move on to the content view and want to bring up these cards here. But we cannot actually do it directly like that, hey, I just came up here and added this card here. It might work, but it might not also. Let's go ahead and first try the basic card. So inside the body of the text, first and foremost, I want to have a scroll view. There we go. Now scroll view, obviously you might want to point out some of the properties in it before you actually have it and then want to have it. So in the scroll view, we are going first and foremost for a horizontal view or horizontal manner of the scrolling. And then inside that, I want to add this here. If I'll just add a card, then it's not going to be working nicely. I need to have a sets of card here, and that card needs to go in the horizontal stack just like this. And then I can just have a simple card just like this. Okay, but the problem is, the issue is right now I just have one card, and if I just click on display here, I cannot even scroll it because it's just one card here. Okay, so how we can have multiple cards? Just click on command and click on this card and just call it as a repeat. And there we go. This is a repeat option, which puts it into a for each loop, 0 to 5. And I can have this card. Let me play this one here. And now I have nice and easy cards. And obviously in your application, you might not need to have cards like this. You might need to have a card in the vertical stack. So how you're going to do that one? That one is actually super easy. First and foremost, make sure you choose the vertical scroll view so that you can scroll from top to bottom. But this alone is not going to work because your stack is still on the horizontal. So you need to put the stack into vertical view. And now this should work. So let's go ahead and come on, you can resume and you can play. And now we have these cards from top to bottom. Come on, you can resume. And now we have these cards going top to bottom. Again, the card was not designed to be top to bottom. If there would be top to bottom, I would create a half of it, then it would look nice. But again, you got the point that how this can be done. Stop this one, going back to horizontal, going back to edge stack. Okay, nice and easy. Now, first and foremost, what we're going to do is we have this scroll view, which is going nice, but I need to have a simple VStack as well. So here comes the tricky part. I'm going to cut this scroll view entirely. And now make sure you have a visualization of how your application is going to be building up. So first and foremost, are we going to have a scroll view? Yes, of course, we're going to have a scroll view. So scroll view. There we go. The default scroll view is actually from top to bottom. So we don't have, if we don't pass on anything, that's going to be top to bottom. Then we are going to have a VStack, vertical stack into that. And this vertical stack will have this text here first and foremost, which is going to say courses. There we go. Nice and easy. We'll add some of the properties to it. Maybe a font weight of bold. Come on. Dot bold. There we go. Nice and easy. We'll add a font of title onto it. Not font weight. Come on. Font, which is going to be dot title. There we go. Nice and big. Nice and easy. And just inside that, then I would like to put up this scroll view. So there we go. Okay. Nice and easy. So we have got first one here, which is scrolling from left to right. And I need another one for my bundles as well. So again, notice we have a default scroll view, and in this we are having this one VStack. We can have another VStack here. So just copy this and paste it up there. And this one is going to be called as bundles. And there we go. Now let's go ahead and try to play this one here. And there we go. We have courses. This is scrolling top to bottom as well. We have bundles. This one is looking nice. Pretty beautiful. Let's play around a little bit more onto this stack here. Okay. Now this is looking all good, but I want to have a little bit more of the playing with this SwiftStack here. So I want to provide more properties on that. So what are the properties I can provide in this horizontal stack? First and foremost, you can have an alignment as well, that I want to have an alignment, not like that, definitely not. Alignment, and that's going to be dot center. And this moves everything on the center. And now what I can do specifically is provide a spacing of 220. And now this is a bit more spaced, but I can also see that there is a next card, which gives user a nice message that this is going to be scrollable. I won't be adding this one to the bottom one because I'll leave the bottom one for you to play around, and this is going to be all nice. Okay, looking great. We have our loop as well, which is going nicely and is doing all the magical stuff with the card repetition here as well. Now, how to add more data onto that? That is actually a super easy and fun part in the iOS. So next up, we need to create some more data. Okay, so as I told you, to create the data, we create not the SwiftUI file, but rather we create a simple Swift file. So let's create a model for the data first and foremost. New file, and Swift file, new. I want to call this as course model. There we go. So how does the course structure is going to look like? We're going to have a SwiftUI, of course, and we're going to create a structure for, not string, we're going to create a structure for it, and we're going to call this one as course. Make sure C is capital in the structure, recommended, not compulsory. And in here, we're going to call this one as identifiable so that we get all the nice suggestions as well. One beautiful thing I like about this is when I say ID, obviously every course is going to have a unique ID, then you can directly mention UUID, and you can even run it. So whenever an object is created from the course, it runs it and provides you a nice ID. Super amazing. I wish more framework would have it. And again, this is not going to be colon, this is going to be equal. There we go. Nice and easy. Now for rest of the things, we can go and say course is going to have a name, which is going to be of type string. And what else? Course, come on. Course price. And that's going to be of type string. And what else do we have? We are going to have course image as well. So course image, we are going to be providing a string value for that too. And course color, lowercase, course color. And the course color is going to be type color. Make sure you don't put a string there because we need a color in this case. Okay, so now the structure is actually defined. All I need to define is an array of the list. And we already have a looping structure, so we can loop through this list and can display all the information. So for that, we will be creating a new file again. Right click, and we are going to have a new file. Again, not the SwiftUI file, but a Swift file. Click on the next. I'm going to call this as course. I'm going to call this as course list because this is what it is. So how do we create a list? Super easy. Swift syntax is very, very easy. We're going to create let course list. Come on, I can write that. Course list. There we go. And course list is going to be of type of an array, but not any ordinary array of integer or anything, but our data structure, which is course that we have defined. There we go. Nice and easy. Nothing bad, I told you. And then we can create an array of that. Now I'll hit an enter to go inside that. And there we are going to have multiple courses. You can have objects as well. We're going to have courses instead. So just type course. And we want to take an help of suggestion. There are two suggestions given to me, an ID and this one here. Now Swift, this Xcode is really smart enough to detect that you might want to skip the ID because you have actually initialized it, and automatically as soon as an object is going to be created, it's going to initialize it. So it's asking us what we want to choose here is the one with not ID. Don't choose the bottom one, choose the top one. Again, it might be different for you. So I'm going to choose the top one, which is having no ID. Again, remember that. So what's going to be the course name? Let's go ahead and provide some value. This is going to be React.js. Course price is going to be just 2.5 USD. The course image, we're going to say img-1. And the course color, the color that we want to give this time is going to be color, just like this. And we will be going for LCO red. And again, all I have to do here is just copy this, put a comma, hit enter, and paste this. This one is gonna be my MERN bootcamp. There we go. The price of the MERN bootcamp is actually $2. And these are actual prices of my courses. We are gonna be going for 2. LCO, this one is gonna be LCO orange. Did I write it correctly? Hope so. And the third one, which is gonna be the latest course which I rolled out, which is C++ bootcamp. That one is also $2, but I'll make it 2.1. And this one is gonna be 3. Feel free to add more. There's gonna be LCO green. There we go. Told you, it's so easy when you have these prefixes and colors consistency. So there we go. We have now these 3 lists coming up. So how we can inject these things now. So for that, we need to go inside the card first. If I can look that, there we go. Now this card data is going to be injected pretty nicely and easily. First and foremost, this preview is going to be broken. So make sure inside this card, you pass on that, hey, this thing is coming up and I need you to have that. First, we need to declare the variable, of course, at the top. So inside this struct, I'll go up here and I'll say that I'll have a data, which is coming up inside the course of type course. There we go. Now, what we can do is we can tell the preview that you can use, since there is a list up here, I can come inside the card and say, inside the course, just use this course list here. And from the list, we are going to be previewing for the first, which is technically second. But again, you got the point. Now, inside in here, we need to insert some of the data. So instead of the image, now we have this data model, honestly. So what we can do is course dot, and it gives me a course name, course image. This is what I want to use. But in order to make sure that this runs, because this is going to give us an error, if I try to build, it's going to say build failed. And the problem is not in this file, actually. The problem is because we have changed this model, we need to go into course content view. And instead of repeating these cards, I'm going to just put up a comment there for a moment. Oops, Command Z. I'm going to say, hey, we are not using card. We are using a text. And this text is saying just hi. And we're going to do the same one at the bottom temporarily again. There we go. And save that. And if I build it now, should be all good. Build succeed. There we go. So this is temporary. We're going to come back again here. Now I need to go back onto this card. There we go. And I can hit resume, and there we go. Card image is here. So we are using this one. So based on what data you are previewing, the 0 data, the first data, or the second data. So things are coming up nicely. And now we have to replace just with the objects. So course image. Did I misspell that? And yep, it's like course image. It should be course image. And here also it should be course image. Course image needs to go. Come on, I'm fixing this up. Course image, and the final one is going to be course image. Should be all good now. Okay, so this one is looking course image. Now nice and easy. Come on, you can resume. And what else? Text also can be removed, and we can say course dot course name. Okay. And this one can also be removed. Course dot course price. Okay. Come on, you can try again. There we go, looks nice. And we need to change the color as well. So this is the frame color on the ZStack that I want to change. And this one is going to be directly changed by course dot course color. Okay, so there we go. Try to build this up and build succeed. And sometimes this preview is not that much fast. There we go, nice and easy. Let's check it out if it is changing everything. There we go, nice and easy. And there we go, looking great. Yeah, looking great, beautiful. Let's go into this preview, content preview. or not preview, content view, and we can see that what are the changes that we have to make here so that everything works nicely. Again, there are going to be a couple of changes that we have to go through and we have to work through. First and foremost, inside the structure, we need to bring up all the information. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to say, hey, my courses are going to be of type course, and I'm going to call this, I'm going to bring them up from the course list. Okay, nice and easy. And now technically I can remove this text and I can do like this. And again, and this one needs to go. And one more thing, in order to see the preview nicely, I need to mention that what is happening here. So I'm going to say courses are happening here and they're going to be coming up from course list. There we go. So should be all good. Definitely I didn't talk much about the basics and stuff like that, but should be all okay. And of course, this is not going to work till I just fix this for each loop. So this time the for each loop is going to be running till the courses is getting data from the course list. So this should be all nice. And we are going to say, hey, the card, we need to provide the data to the card so that card can pick up that data. So course is going to be item. And again, this item is coming up from here. Let's do the same thing here. Loop through the courses, bring up every item, and we're going to pass this item as a parameter of course to the actual card. Should be all good. Let's try to build this up. Build succeed. Nice. Let's resume this one here. And we can actually play button here, and this is all looking great. Can we scroll it up here? There we go. Looking nice and easy. Looking great so far. Okay. So this one is looking great. Now I would like to mention one more thing up here for you. Again, the data is changing as well, nice and easy. So here's the time when I give you assignment as well. So all those who have followed this, I want you to do an assignment as well. So in the Learn Code Online app, we have courses, we have bundles, but we have test as well. And I want you to create a card just specifically for test, not this long, but actually half of this. And that should say test on C++, test on aptitude, or whatever that is. Just create a different card for it. And I want this card to go just below the bundles. So make sure you do enough of editing so that I can introduce one more module, which is test, which is having a completely different card. And I think you can do that with this amount of knowledge. And I hope you have enjoyed this. If you have enjoyed this, please click a photo, share a story with me on Instagram. I really get super happy when you share these stories and stuff, and it motivates me to create more such projects and more such videos. So if you have enjoyed it, hit that subscribe, and I'm going to catch you up in the next video.